Willie actually is. Perhaps the presence of Willie and the Panthers looking at his imposing frame.
I'm a 25-minute man. Oh, you got skill, son.
Uppercut right hand by Big Willie.
Too fancy for you.
We're rolling. Welcome to episode number 22 of The Take with Willie and Ian. It's both of us here today, William. You're in your house, I'm in my house. We're separated once again.
I'm a bit over it. I'm a bit over the Zoom podcast. How are you?
I'm over it too.
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
You
It
know
is what
what?
it is. It is what it is.
there's nothing much you can do. We are brought to you by bettingsite.com.au. They must be getting an absolute hammering on the weekends because there is literally nothing to do but watch
I know
sport.
what has been getting a hammering. This is not
Drink.
even product play.
Oh, how
Young
good is it?
Young Henry's has a gin.
It does. It's a good gin
I
too.
didn't even. How did they know that was my favorite drink?
Are you just
I'm pouring,
you're drinking it?
and I'm pouring one now. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, straight out of the bottle. It's good. The best way it is. It's a noble cut.
It is.
William, let's just quickly say a big shout out again to everybody for, I guess, the sacrifices that people are having to make. All those people everyone's doing it tough. All those people that are affected by this whole horrible thing. It's been another 4 weeks announced. It's another 4 weeks of doing the right thing, and obviously. People are affected outside of sport. They're affected outside of everything. So we just want to wish everyone all the best again.
Yeah.
And
We said that last week. Just take care of each other. Now is not the time to be to be very petty and dobbing on each other. It's not an Australian way. We don't do that. We've got to stick together. We've got to stick tight. A lot of other people have different views on everything. You just got to respect everyone's views and just try and get through this together. It's a bit of a shit fight. Nobody's happy. Not anyone in Australia is happy with the situation, but it is what it is. If you can't control the situation, it's the way I always feel. If I can't control the situation, I just got to sit back and let it ride out. So, I don't agree with a lot of shit that's going on, but I can't do anything about it. So we're just gonna have to wait it out like everybody else.
yeah,
Not much you can do. Not much you can do.
The best thing about it, I reckon, is the fact that the Olympics are on. Because literally it's just giving everyone an escape so that they can have a look now. You're stuck at home. There's nothing to do. Oh, look, hang on. We can watch. We're all an expert in badminton now. There's
so much sport on. If you're whinging and saying, oh my God, I'm so bored. Obviously you just hate sport. Netflix, Stan, I don't know what else. Fox Sports, every single sport, ESPN. Like there's just so many things. Reruns of everything you want. I mean, YouTube. I mean, I'm not saying stay at home and do all of that kind of stuff. I'm more like you don't have to get that bored at home, but go out, exercise still. I'm really gonna try and get that out there. Just don't be that dude that's just stuck at home. Obviously, respect everyone's spatial awareness. Do everything right. Wear a mask, and if you're out in supermarkets and stuff, but get out there and exercise. The government's sort of neglecting that, and there's no real people coming out going, make sure you exercise, make sure, because that's great. It's better for your mental health. A lot of these guys are suffering. A lot of people are suffering at home. And the best thing is to get outside and exercise. You sit at home, you get into bad habits, you drink too much, you eat too much shit. And the next minute, it's 6 weeks in lockdown. You know what I mean? You start creating these really bad habits. So, I can't express enough to get out there and still be healthy. A lot of people around the eastern suburbs, everywhere, like they're all walking. Everyone's exercising, and I was down in Bondi today, and I went for a walk, and the cops are down there doing the right thing. They're telling everybody who's not walking to move on. There's no typical Bondi people down there sunbaking, loitering. You have to be exercising. So they're trying to do the right thing. Everyone's trying to do the right thing. It's good that people are trying to get out there and exercise and move, because the worst place for you right now in this absolute shit fight is at home. It's where mental health is so important. We've got to just keep expressing how much you just got to help your friends, help your mates, keep asking all your friends, are you okay? How you doing with all this kind of stuff? Because people deal with things different. And I think it's so important that you do help your friends, even your neighbor, have a chat with someone. Just be more proactive with how you usually are. I'm not usually like that. I'm very close with my friends, I'll ask you how you are, and everyone who's close to me know that I'm like that, but if I don't really know you, I'm not usually like that, but I talk to my neighbors and people down the road and people at coffee shops and stuff like that, because we're all in this together. It sucks, but what do you do about it? What can we do?
Well, as a guide of what not to do in terms of being healthy, on Saturday Arvo, I filled up a water bottle full of Negroni, and then I went for a walk using obviously Young Henry's gin. I went for a walk with a mate in the park, and we basically just had a full water bottle full of pure alcohol, and we walked around and drank the Negroni, and then I came home and had about 10 Young Henrys and ate 2 tubs of ice cream. So for those of you out there struggling with your mental health, don't do that. Because I woke up on Sunday going, that was one of your best. So what we should do though is we should just have a quick
solid. I can't believe you feel water.
Well, you can't drink in public.
I know, but that's great. Not condoning it. Not condoning. Don't do that. Don't copy off Ian.
Except for when I got a bit tired around the second lap around Centennial Park and had a big skull thing. It was a water bottle and it was not. So let's have a quick chat about Ariarne Titmus. She is an absolute superstar. We'll go into the rugby league in a sec, but this Olympics has been fantastic, and we won 2 medals in the rowing today, in the men's and the women's coxless fours, and then Ariarne Titmus, who is an out and out superstar, and her coach is now my favourite person in the world, other than Ariarne Titmus.
That celebration is the best I've ever seen in my whole life. I didn't know who Ariarne Titman was. And I was just like, who's the coach?
Who's the coach?
Who won? Who did this thing? And it was an Aussie. I thought it was some crazy Yank or something like that. I didn't think it was an Aussie because I only just saw the highlights.
The best was the Japanese official trying to sort of shoo him across, and she didn't realise he still had a bit more in the tank, and he went back for the second pelvic thrust. She didn't know what to do. Poor old Japanese. They're not used to Australians.
Not that behaviour.
He'd been walking around the athletes' village with a bottle of Negroni, I think. Anyway, congratulations to all the Australian athletes. We're doing very well. We always do well in the swimming, and then it all
Jess Fox. Shout out to Jess Fox. Jess Fox, my girl. She got bronze in the.
She was so close.
She's the best really in the world. She's the best. She is easily the best in the world. My heart goes out to her, but I think everybody knows. I mean, the gold has slipped away a couple of times with her, but she's easily hands down the best in her sport in the world ever.
And it just goes to show,
she's so amazing. I did that Hell's Kitchen with her. That's how we become friends, and I've stayed close with her ever since. And she's a rocking chick. She's awesome.
And it just goes to show people don't.
I beat her in the onion challenge. So
that's you're bringing that up, now. Yep. Okay. All right, good. So what I was about to say is that you would understand being an elite athlete, but I'm taking that back now. So elite athletes understand that the margin between success and failure is, and she literally got a 2-second penalty, and that 2-second penalty, she just touched one of the things just briefly, and that 2-second penalty cost her a gold medal. It's a brutal thing. Every 4 years you get one chance.
I know. My heart broke when I saw that. It was terrible. But in my heart, in her heart of hearts, and everybody in her sport, she is number one.
Yeah, she is. And she's a fantastic role model, which is something that you cannot say about some of the rugby league players that, once again, are out
there doing their best. Hey, great segue. It's beautiful.
I'm getting better at this.
Tell you what, my throat is warm.
Well, there you go. Thank you again to Young Henrys. Happy Coruscant has had a shocker. I don't know. I don't really want to go into it in terms of, because that's obviously now the biggest issue for Coruscant.
It's news.
It's his marriage now, because I mean they came out and did a thing together, but I mean the bloke, it's just dumb. It's dumb. So the other big news from that is James Roberts he's just been suspended for a match and he's been fined. He's been quarantining for 2 weeks. Now his crime was to go out on a balcony in Queensland.
And that's it, That's all he did.
That was all he did. He didn't scale down the building and go out and go straight to Hollywoods. He literally went out the front and someone took a photo of it. And
he's scummy. Is that thing there? He's not sitting there trying to climb out of the building. I'm not condoning anything he did, anything that he did at all. By the protocol rules, he did, he stuffed it up. But why would you take a photo of that? Like he's just sitting on his balcony. Like, we get it. We get it. We get all these rules, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. There's no need for that. And then people come and say, well, there's no need for him to get out. Maybe he needs some fresh air. I don't know what it is. Like, do you expect him just to stay in there for 14 days? I've never quarantined. I don't plan on doing it. But like, what are you staying? But they've got a balcony. Why give him a balcony?
Mate, I'll tell you what.
Why have the option of a balcony?
Well, honestly, do you honestly think that people who have been quarantining that aren't a rugby league player haven't stuck their head out the window or something? So the ridiculous part of it, but there's a photographer there trying to wait for James Roberts to do something wrong, and he gets hammered. And the thing for me is, you look at,
makes me sick.
They go up there, they said, all right, well, we're going to have the thing, and you can have the quarantine and the families can come up, and then all of a sudden they turn around from that and they say, you can't go out in the balcony because apparently that's dangerous. But they made them tape up the windows. Like, it's, I don't know, for me,
it's overboard, mate.
This isn't necessarily an issue for the wider community. This is an issue for Queensland Health. Queensland Health have said, yeah, you can come up and you can do it. And then they changed the guidelines halfway through. And this bloke's gone out literally on a balcony. I don't know if I'm missing something. And if I am, I'll apologise. But if the bloke's just gone out on the balcony, this is not the crime of the century.
No, but they look what they've done to him. Just dragged him through the coals again like he's the worst person in the world. He has his own issues, Jimmy Roberts, mate. He's a great kid, but he has a lot of issues. You think as a person and he's been very open about his mental health issues. You think that's good to be stuck in a little room for 14 days without any fresh air or anything like that? Do you think that's good for your health? It's not. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's something, there's got to be different rules, for people in those circumstances. Like, I just don't think it's fair. I mean, I get it if for all the other things that the rugby league players have done, throw the book at him. And it has happened. But this kid here gets to miss out in another game. His whole name gets dragged through the coals again, like he's a bad apple. Terrible.
I do feel a bit as if this is like the straw that broke the camel's back. So you've got all these incidents. You had Vaughan, Arrow, and Coruscant all in one sort of, a 2 or 3 week block. And then this bloke just pops it.
They're bigger deal.
They were bad.
Yeah.
All of those things. And this bloke, I don't know. I can't see this being a massive issue.
And hence the petty, like one game. That's it, because it's not that severe.
Yeah, but they have to come out and do something because
they have to do something because he's broken the law. It's the law. It's the protocol, and he's broken it, and he's paying the piper now. It's just terrible. This is very petty because there's been a lot of shit when people were first quarantining. There's been people being photographed on their balcony, all that kind of stuff, and no one really gives a shit. Just that they weren't rugby league players.
The thing is, as well, I guess the Queensland chief health officer has threatened to sort of shut the whole comp down, and if they have one more thing, they'll shut it down. Like, I look at this Queensland health officer, and honestly, I'm not throwing stones. She's doing it's a difficult job, but she's the one who said don't get AstraZeneca, and that sort of threw everything out. Like, she's under a lot of pressure. She now has the power to stop the entire competition, so she could say, you know what, we're having no more football because you blokes can't be trusted.
Well,
I don't know.
What? I'm not really, not a betting man, but like I'm pretty sure who holds the grand final this year? Queensland. Yeah. How much money is that going to be worth to Queensland?
28 billion, 0.6.
Millions and millions of dollars. You got all the semi-finals there. You got all the clubs there at the moment. You think you'd have to have something severe as hell to let the NRL just slip out of that and have no grand final. The amount of money that's going to bring to Queensland. So I think it's a money thing. And from a betting man, I dare say the NRL will keep continuing up there.
Yeah, you are a betting man. You're just not very good at it.
I'm awful at it. But I just don't think. I think it's going to be a money thing. You're not going to go, get out of here because someone's like he's left his room and he's wanted some fresh air. Well, that's the last seat. That's the straw that broke the back. No.
Can you imagine
millions of dollars?
Can you imagine though? Like, there's
the Premier will let that slide.
That there's very few things that, as a society, we've got to look forward to at the moment. It's very hard going for a lot of people if they start taking one of the only things that in terms of the, the AFL and the NRL and the rugby union. Look at Jacinta Ardern, the New Zealand Prime Minister. They're in lockdown, the travel bubble shut, but the Wallabies can still go over there because she understands that this gives some people an outlet. There's not going to be 23 blokes.
And how big is it if the grand final's never been in Queensland?
Yeah.
Pretty big deal. I don't think the health minister has all the power in the world. I'm pretty sure there's people a lot more, higher than her pay grade anyway.
Yeah.
Below her pay grade.
We're more powerful. Definitely.
That's it.
Not the producer. That's it. Pretty much it. The other thing as well that's happened, and this is one thing I don't like about social media, because it is just I love Twittering, but some of the things I see on Twitter really they piss me off. And so Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, who has given so much of this game, he's a New Zealand captain, he's a Dally M medalist, he's done everything. He's going to rugby union. He has decided to go back to New Zealand because of the travel bubble, give up his the end part of this season. And let's be honest, the Warriors are going nowhere. So's Lisa Naumau, the Warriors prop or front rower, sort of comeback rower. The amount of shit that they're copying, you're gutless, what about it? I don't get it. These are blokes that have been away from their families for 2 years. And I get that people are saying, people have to move for work all the time. Yeah, but if you're a fly-in, fly-out worker, then you're away for 10 days and home for 10. These blokes have been away for months at a time.
Years. The Warriors have been away for a couple of years now. And you absolute pieces of shit to even think that. I hope these are the guys I always say, like they're the guys living in their mum's basement, never played a first grade game, thought they were probably good in under 10s. They probably got most improved. You know what I mean? Like they just have absolutely nothing in life going for them. They're sitting at home on their little computer and just bagging guys like Tuivasa-Sheck, who could not be more of a like professional, a great person. Every single box that gets ticked, he's that. And then you still have the audacity to come at that kid and say that he should be doing this and this. I want to know who these people are. Obviously, I don't think it would be any journos because they wouldn't go that low.
Nah, of course
no.
not.
This is what you got to understand. The people that write this shit, they're low lives. They have nothing going for their lives at all. That's the way I think of them, and they are. Show your face. You know what I mean? I just look at them. They're just like they're absolute pieces of shit. If you can sit there and bag these two blokes and say that you should be doing this and everybody travels and this and that, like what sort of person are you? That's why I sit there and I just laugh because you're an absolute joke. That's it. And that's why I see shit like that on Twitter. I'll go at them that hard because they just don't understand. They don't understand life. Their highest achievement is coming ninth in a 70-meter race in under sixes. That's it. Ninth place ribbon. I got a ninth place ribbon.
That's a very specific event and placing that you just gave them too.
Yeah,
it wasn't
ninth.
Yeah, ninth place. 70-meter. Yeah.
70-meter, well done. And it was a 3-legged race. And the partner was Usain Bolt. Come on, man. They're the sort of people that we're dealing with. I don't give a shit about anything like that. Especially, like Twitter, they're just giving everybody, their power to, I'll say my opinion. Fuck off. No one cares about it. Especially this kid.
Was that you? You're pointing at yourself there.
Just that kid over there.
Okay.
Oh, it shits me, mate, because both those two are some of the nicest blokes you'll ever meet and have done. Leeson Naumau, one of the toppest blokes in the world. But Tuivasa, what he's done for the game, New Zealand rugby and the Roosters, and just been a model citizen his whole career, not a foot wrong. And you still have the audacity to have a go at him. He's given enough. Let the kid go.
And he will be a huge loss to the game for that very reason. He's a huge role model, and he's
been such a role model. He's like the Kalen Pongers, the Benji Marshalls when they come along, the JT, the dummy. He's got that step. He's got that thing where kids want to emulate. RTS, Ponga's got that step. You know what I mean? Like he's that sort of kid, and to bag that sort of person, just think about what sort of person you are. And then you'll be on the same level as what I think you are.
I'm excited to see him play rugby union, actually. So I wish him all the best. One of the other things in international rugby league, the Australian and New Zealand sides have officially pulled out of the World Cup at the end of the year. Some people think that it's due to COVID and I guess
Political.
the pressures on players, but I don't know. I'm in two minds. I can understand why having an international competition in the midst of a pandemic is a difficult thing to organise. But in saying that, I bet these players want to play. You always say it, Will. Players want to play. So do you reckon
taking that? Imagine taking just say Kalen Ponga finishes the year off in massive style, gets picked for Australia, hasn't played a test yet. No one. They always pick debutants. I wonder how he feels about that.
Yeah,
that's the most prestigious thing you can earn in your game, in this game right now. Origin's the hardest game, but those things that cream of the crop jersey, the best 17 in the world, arguably, that's what you want. You want to play in World Cups. You want to play in the best team with the best players, and you're taking that chance. You're taking that chance away from them. Like, why can we hold the Euro Cup without a hiccup? It's in Europe, isn't it?
I believe so.
What's the deal? So, I think Euro Cup is held in Europe. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it is. I don't know.
But I don't understand why. Why aren't they letting our players go?
It's because the clubs don't want them to. There's no.
And that's the thing. There's
no way.
Why would you want
it.
Tedesco? Why would you want Tedesco? Why would you want Kalen Ponga? Why would you want your superstar Cameron Munster? All these blokes playing a whole year, Origin, all that kind of stuff. Especially it's been a shortened year from last year, and then the whole year this year you play Origin, probably deep into the semi-finals, and then the World Cup. They're going to be, a little bit jaded by the end of it, don't you think? And that's what it always happens, like with club coaches, and not coaches, CEOs, chairmen. They're the ones that go, oh, I don't want him to. They in their way they wouldn't want you to play, especially with the Polynesians. That's what I told you last week. That's why not many players went on World Cups back in the 2000s and stuff. And when we were playing for Australia, and they had all these Pacifica Cups where Tonga played Samoa, and that. Hardly anyone. It was frowned upon from coaches. Oh, it's only Tonga. It's But now every player wants to play for Polynesia now. All the Polynesians all want to play because it means so much to them, and it always has meant so much. What happens if I hear a rumor like just say the Indigenous Maoris and Indigenous Aboriginal team, like they want to play in it?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
what's that?
Funny
what would you think about that? That you're pretty much, you got all the Indigenous brothers here and the Maori boys, and if they go take Australia and New Zealand's place,
I'll tell you what, Will, and this is something that I've noticed in the last little while. Back in the mid 2000s, you were considered to be very outspoken, right? And that was in the days before social media. Players didn't have a platform, so the only sort of way that people heard players talking was through mainstream media. And you were considered outspoken, not because the things that you said were that outlandish, but because you were a voice outside of what other people were saying. I look at it now. So apparently Blake Ferguson and Josh Adokar, who are two very big names in the game, have gone to the NRL and they've said, we'll go over under the Indigenous sort of flag and we'll play in that World Cup. Now, if that was 20 years ago, everyone would be jumping up and down and saying, you can't do that. I think this is such a fantastic new development where players actually have a voice. They have a voice.
I think it's awesome.
I think it's
awesome. And you get Latrell behind that. You get guys like JT and GI and all these the elder fellas, and they back it. What are you going to do? Then you're going to probably see guys like Tedesco play for Italy.
Yeah.
If you can't play in the World Cup for Australia or anything like that, like have a look at the Saifidi brothers. Who else?
Straight to Fiji.
Fiji or Samoa, they're both eligible. Who else we got? Like Big Papa, straight to Samoa. There's a lot of kids there, mate. They can all go play for other countries, and they will. Everyone wants to play in a World Cup. Like New Zealand will go. Half the New Zealand side's all mostly Polynesian, and if they come up with this with the Maori side, they're going to be playing in that as well. So New Zealand, regardless, you're going to have a lot of players playing in the World Cup.
Well, because
I just don't understand.
Your first tests were actually for Tonga. I don't know if people remember that, but you actually played for Tonga. Was it a World Cup?
World Cup, 2000 World Cup. So
Yeah,
Lottie Takiri played for Fiji in the World Cup for in 2000. So Petro Civoniceva, all for both for Fiji.
Yeah.
And Brent Kite, I played with Brent Kite, and then we end up, playing for New South Wales in Australia together. But it was one of the proudest moments of my career, easily.
Yeah, and I feel as though international rugby league, they need to be supported more. As we've said before, we got involved with the Emerging Nation World Cup with Poland a few years ago, and these blokes, they're so passionate about the game. And I don't know, the thing that rugby union has over rugby league and always has is the fact that it's a genuinely international game. And I understand that rugby union is struggling somewhat in this country, but it'll have an upswing, and then again it'll go back to being the premier international game. And if rugby league doesn't use the opportunity to be able to grow the game internationally, they're missing a massive opportunity.
I just feel that they just don't care. They never have really cared about the international game, especially the NRL. The NRL rule it with they just think the NRL is, and that's it. The NRL is the best comp, and that's about it. Australia is the best team, and that's about it. So it's an ARL versus the International Rugby League. They're button heads, then the NRL, and Australia just thinks they run the show, and that's what it is. And they do run the show, but we'll see what sort of players, And I spoke to a lot of players that are current internationals, and they're like, I can't believe this is actually happening. Like, they're current internationals, and Origin players are like, I can't wait to play, and they're taking this away from me. And not in those words, not very kind words. And I said, talk to the RLPA. I'm not sure. It's probably going to go above the RLPA's head. They don't care. They're just going to go, you know what? We're not playing. But what can they do if these players want to play for other countries?
Well, I guess the thing is with the eligibility rules, they probably either have to choose. So if they go and play for another country, then there's ways that they can quash it, but I just think it's crap. I think they should just be encouraging everybody to play. And if they can say, if you don't want to play, don't play. And I guarantee you, most of the Australian and New Zealand sides would want to go.
Yeah, I think, most players will be playing in that World Cup, trust me. It's just probably about 10, 11, 12 players that'll probably won't. And they're probably proper, full-blooded Aussies. Anyone else with any part of like any heritage, Scottish, Irish, anything like that, they'll be over there, because I think the World Cup, is it not the World Cup rules are different? Or did they change that? Or
no, they changed it. They changed it.
They did change it? So it's 100% they can't just say Papali wanted to play for Samoa this year. He can.
He can play for Samoa, definitely. Yeah. But he couldn't. I don't think he could play for them, and then I don't think he would be able to play for Samoa and then come and play for Australia. But I think you can go from a tier 1 to a tier.
So you can't. So Payne Haas, just say Payne Haas wants to go play for Samoa. He can't.
He can't
play for Australia.
No, he can't play for Australia. No. So they wiped that out. So
what about, what about the David Fafitas and all that? Maybe these guys will draw a line in the sand and go, we are playing. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're not going to pick us?
Well, that's what happened. That's what happened with Tonga when Taumalolo and those blokes first changed their allegiances. It was that real groundswell. So,
well, it is something big's going to happen like that, because these guys want to play for their country. And if I hope this Indigenous thing goes on. Guys like Latrell and Cody Walker and all the brothers, man, I hope they all stick together and get it going.
Yeah, they'd have a good side too. One thing that has also happened this week, William, is Craig Bellamy has signed a contract with the Melbourne Storm. I really don't understand how this contract looks. It kind of looks like they've just said to Craig Bellamy, we're going to give you a heap of cash and you can just kind of do what you want. If you want to coach, just hang out. Just don't go anywhere else. There you go. There's a lot of money. Do your best.
It's the best. It's the best deal ever, and he deserves it. And he'll do the right thing by the club. It's not like he's going to go, all right, COVID's over. I'm just going to go to the Greek Islands for a while. He'll stick it out, and he'll get the best out of Melbourne. He'll probably win another two premierships. He'll do everything right. It is a bizarre contract, but Belly deserves what he gets. Guys like him and Wayne Bennett, they can do what they want. That's why their contracts are just pretty much in their favour, because there's not many of them around.
Could you see him at another club? he's one of those blokes where you can't really, unless it was the new Brisbane side. That's the only side you could sort of understand him going to. But watching Craig Bellamy being director of coaching at the Sharks, or it wouldn't feel right.
I thought after the big three retired, he was going to go somewhere. There was a lot of rumours about that. I just did not think that he expected this next crop of kids to be that good.
Now he's got the big six again.
Now he's got an all-star team again, and I just don't see anyone beating him this year. But I don't think I thought he was actually going to go somewhere else, because you hear rumours of Brisbane trying to get him back, and and they probably were in talks, but you had faith in the Melbourne culture, the Melbourne system, and look at them now. Like, they won the comp last year. They've been what, out of what, the last 5 years, like three grand finals, 1, 2. It's unbelievable, mate.
That Brisbane job's Uncle Wayne's, isn't it? Hey, Uncle Wayne.
I don't know.
You can't go up.
Are we going to have a couple of teams? You might go to the Perth one. We've got so many players. You should have about 100 teams.
Yeah, I feel like you should be an ambassador for Perth. I like.
What
Perth.
about?
We'll go
what
over
about?
there.
I saw something. I think I put on Instagram. Roger Goodell, whoever follows NFL, he made it mandatory with these vaccinations for every player. So pretty much, if you don't sign that, or if you don't get vaxxed, you don't play. Your contract stops. All that kind of stuff. How far do you reckon away that is in league? And how do you think players will react?
I can't see it happening here, because there's been any attempt that there has been to mandate vaccinations in this country has been met with huge opposition. And I think if that was the case here, it's different in the States, because these clubs are owned by one billionaire who essentially then, these players, they're earning that much money. Look, there'd be players probably that put their hand up and say, I don't want to get vaccinated, and he'll just cut them, because it's such a massive market that they can sign someone of a similar stature, and the bloke's given up $20 million thereabouts.
Yeah, I know. I get it. But I mean, like, there's some, Hall of Fame sort of players kicking up a stink saying, I've got to choose now, put myself in a position where I'm actually thinking about, do I want to play NFL? Do you know what I mean? And I just think, what would you do? Just say with these players now, I'm not anything. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm not pro this, pro that. But imagine if Volandis just sends an email to all CEOs and goes, all right, for us to go ahead, I just don't think this is too far off what's going to happen. For us to go ahead for us to get crowds, obviously money, crowds, bring in, everybody needs to get vaccinated before round one. Just maybe next year or the year out, I'm not sure. Like, if not, then the ramifications are massive. You have to stand down, and then just see, because a lot of these players, current players, former players, have some big serious views on these vaccinations.
Yeah, but they're not getting paid, Will. They're not getting paid. So
I know that
becomes how much are your principles worth? And then it becomes a very individual thing.
That's what I'm trying to say. It becomes very individual, and you'll see how strong your views are on things. If you're a current player and you have views on the vaccinations, like I'm just pretty sure something like this will happen within the next 6 months. Something like this, because what's going to happen? The game needs to go forward. The game needs crowds. You know what I mean? So imagine they just said, all right, and then you'll see how strong you are. And obviously you're going to see with belief, people have religious beliefs, people have all these other beliefs, and I respect everybody's beliefs, but that corner that these players might be put in, is going to be scary.
Well, mate, at the end of the day, everybody's got a price, and these blokes now, you'll see what their principles are worth, and ultimately, it's a decision for the individual. But when you're sort of taking food off your own table, it's a lot more difficult to be principled. But
yeah, I know. But I mean, that's what I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, I don't think we're that far off about someone coming down and just going, oh, we need imagine just say, oh, even us, you're not going to be able to do X, Y, and Z, Willie. You can't travel. You can't do any work with this and that unless you get vaccinated. I think that's what's going to happen. You're going to get put in a corner, and then you're going to have to make a decision. And then you'll see how high your principles are.
You know who'll be the first in the queue, Will?
Who's that?
The big boys.
Nice. Willie's big boy.
Anyway, guys, it was another massive weekend of football again. But the big boys are at it again. I can't stop watching it. They are dominating games. They are. There's been a couple of, I'll mention it, one of them here. He's just been probably the best forward in the comp. But my first point is going to go to that kid, James Fisher-Harris. And this is very close for him getting 3 points. Like his work rate is ridiculous. I think he nearly got 200 meters. And even though I think they played the Cowboys. Am I right? They played the Cowboys?
No, the Storm played the Cowboys. Panthers played the Broncos.
The Broncos, yeah. So it was a solid game. They only just won the game. So the Broncos are really up for that game. You still got Payne Haas and all these young bulls are trying to go at him. Nearly 200 meters. I think it was like, over 30 tackles. Like his efficiency in defense is ridiculous. 85, 90%. Post-contact meters, outstanding. 2 points. Joseph Tapine, probably the best game he's played all year. He was an absolute beast. When they beat a team, Parramatta, who have a decent pack, don't they? They're very aggressive.
They do.
And he come out and he actually took them on. They started him in the front row, and I think he made something like 160, 170 meters. Post-contact meters are ridiculous. He just so hard to tackle. He's a young Newcastle junior. He was always that strong. He went down to Canberra, and he's played his best football down there. But mate, he's an outstanding talent. Few injuries this year, sort of derailed his mid sort of season, but he's coming home strong now, which is great. 3 points, Christian Welsh.
Love Christian Welsh.
Yeah, he's a newcomer to the big boys, but some solid minutes. I think it was like 60 plus minutes in the middle, well over 30 tackles, about 170 meters. And who'd Melbourne
play? A lot of offloads too. That was a thing.
A lot of late offloads as well, really late offloads. He's not like your Sonny Bill sort of offloader, but it's like in contact, 3 people in, just that little flop back, which kills defenses. It kills them because everybody's retreating. Next minute you go, Brandon Smith's just chopping at you and he's changing direction and you've got all these other kids there. So, mate, he's been really, really good. I mean, he caught that head knock in Origin, sort of set him back a little bit. But now he's coming back and he's got a great combination. They've got a 3-headed monster down there with Welsh, Bromwich, and Big Nas. And then you got Kamikamitha. Like there's just a ridiculous setup down there.
The Kamichameleon.
The Kamichameleon is an absolute beast. So those are my 3 big boys for the week. So it'll be interesting. I think Fisher-Harris, what's he on now? Is he back up there?
I'm not sure so I think it was Payne Haas and Fisher-Harris were on 16 last week. So that takes Fisher-Harris to 17. Interestingly, he's
Payne
out
Haas
of the bubble.
Just missed out. It's only because he played against I go with other people. I go against the pack that you're playing.
Well, Fisher-Harris, I think he's on 17 now. He interestingly misses the next few weeks because he's chosen to be at the birth of his child, which is a very understandable decision. So he now leaves himself open for Payne Haas to swoop past.
Oh, Payne Haas was nearly in there, but what was the difference? I looked at it. I was like, because they got beat. It was either him or Fisher-Harris, and Fisher-Harris got more meters, and they won.
When they won,
sorry, Payne. Sorry, Payne.
Yeah, and don't be sorry because Payne Haas he's an
absolute beast. I'm pretty sure he'll be
Bondi
all right.
Bondi Tonys who are, and let me tell you as well, just one quick thing. Obviously, with another 4 weeks of lockdown, Bondi Tonys, who's a massive supporter of ours, and all of the restaurants out there, everyone who works in hospitality, everyone who has an opportunity to go and buy takeaway from a food that might not necessarily be a takeaway restaurant, or anyone who has an opportunity to buy takeaway from a takeaway restaurant, these places are the lifeblood of our economy and also of our society. And if you don't support them now when we're in trouble, they won't be there when we finish. So thank you again to Bondi Tonys. Thanks to Young Henry's and to all the restaurants out there, to Drake down in Bondi, who wonderful friends of mine. Get up, support them, buy as much as you can, and hopefully they'll all be there when we go back to normal.
Well said.
All right, Will, we will now head into I would say this is probably my least favourite segment of this week, and it's for one reason and one reason alone. The producer who had absolutely shat the bed all year has chucked out Hungarian fencer, right? A Hungarian fencer.
I wasn't paying attention last week.
G-up.
Sorry, I thought it was a G-up. I thought someone was like, I thought Henry was like, yeah. I mean, Harry was just going, yeah, whatever.
How'd he win? Who even looks at fencing? I mean, I must say, I've become an expert on every sport again. I say it every 4 years, and all of a sudden I'm watching the water polo last night and going, trying to explain to my son, I played one season of water polo. All of a sudden I'm an expert. But Harry, welcome.
Guys, it's great to be back. It's Olympics fever, the most successful day in Australian Olympics history. How good?
We went really shit the last Olympics, eh?
Yeah, the last two were really bad, but we've just had a best day in 120-something years of Olympic competition.
Awesome work.
Yeah, how good.
Do you know what? I didn't realise this. We do better in Southern Hemisphere or time zone specific Olympics. I didn't know that. So Japan's only 2 hours difference. Yeah. So Japan, we're doing it's the same sort of time zone. Obviously, in Australia, we did very well. In all of the time zones, I don't think we count for some Winter Olympics, but yeah, every time there's a time zone specific Olympics, we do better. There you go.
There you go. We're going to Paris and LA in the next 2 Olympiads. So
Gonzes.
Absolutely no good.
That's why they had a Still Knocks party. They couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
How good's a Still Knocks party? All right.
Wouldn't know what you're talking about.
Last week, Red Bull gives you wings. Last week, I was so close, Harry.
Well, so was I. I'm still.
No, you weren't that close. How did the Bulldogs drag from the kit bag such a shit house performance as soon as you know what? I blame you, William Mason.
Yeah, that's a bit
cheap. Don't blame me.
So I've gone the Titans to cover the line into the Raiders to cover the line.
And
what a big bet that is.
Yeah, $3.61 with Sportsbet. I saw this come through this morning and I thought
he's reaching.
I'm feeling pretty good about this. Look, not much can go wrong here, but like are the Bulldogs going to come back and bite you now that you've just slagged them off?
Who are they playing? Who are the Dogs playing?
It's Bulldogs versus Titans. So
they might.
So the Titans have just got to win by 13 points. That's all we need. And I think the Raiders.
I don't think they will. Sorry. I don't think they'll win by 13.
Yeah, the Raiders.
It'll be at least 1-12.
Yeah, Raiders 2.5 line. That's easy $1.90 return on that one. So $3.61 at Sportbet. You got to feel pretty good about that.
Yeah,
thanks, mate.
He's probably going to lose anyway. Let's go to my bet. I got a 4-leg multi that I studied all day. I got the Canberra Raiders just head to head. Broncos head to head. St George Illawarra and South to be 54.5 over. And my favourite, Ruben Garrick, anytime try scorer.
Oh, Willie.
Turbo better be playing.
Turbo is in the side and is going to play barring any late catastrophe. Okay, so Ladbrokes are giving you $9.30, and I reckon they're paying you overs on this bet. This looks good. All right. The only question mark is, can Brisbane get over the line in the 4X Derby? I'm tipping the Cowboys, but it's a toss of the coin job. So you've just got to hope the Broncos can hang on.
To Suncorp.
It's at Suncorp. Yep. So you just got to hope that they hang on in a close one. They have won 7 of their last 9 at Suncorp.
I think the Broncos aren't going too bad at the moment.
No.
They were going all right against Penrith. They were going toe-to-toe.
Yeah, they pushed Penrith twice this year. So they have it in them. Just can they nail in the...
Tony Staggs is big, mate. Payne Haas is playing out of his skin.
Yeah.
Their halves still suck.
That's been their problem. And you feel like if they had Adam Reynolds in the game last week, they probably win that game. Or at least they mount a serious challenge rather than sort of they were a bit anemic towards the end. But I absolutely love that bet with Ladbrokes this week. I think you are.
Thank you, Ladbrokes. I hope so.
Red
I
hot
actually
chili.
hope. It's been a while since we all won. What did we win last week with
The
with
fencing. So we got a $350 return.
Hey,
We got the Hungarian fencer at 7-1.
We're up to three.
Wow.
We're up to 3,500, which is good.
that's all right.
I'll read out now this bet because it just sounds so ridiculous that it's a chance of winning. I think so. We've got Yui Suzaki in the women's freestyle 50 kilo wrestling into Nina Kristen, who's Swiss, and she is in the women's 50-meter rifle, and she's got to come in the top 3. So if Nina Kristen from Switzerland, and she's probably Switzerland's favourite son other than Roger Federer, it goes Roger Federer, then Nina Kristen, then the Banks, and then the Watchers are 4th. But if she finishes in the top 3,
Daylight's then the Army Knives too. So
also Army Knives. So what do we got for that?
It goes
all right,
Federer, Army Knives, and then this lady.
Look, now Sportsbet love getting around the Olympics, and they've jumped in here to give the producer $7.48. So they've given him another good price. That Hungarian fences bet that hasn't scared off the bookies. So he's gonna get an even better return if we can get Nina Kristen and
This is going to make me watch the Olympics now. All these random things on KO.
This is a genuine dartboard effort, but I've just been informed. I've been reliably informed that it's not. She doesn't have to come in the top 3 just to win it. They shoot from 3 positions in this particular
there you go.
rifle. So missionaries won. Anyway, all the best to Nina Kristen in the women's rifle. So Harold, what have you got?
Okay, so Ladbrokes have they've jumped in and given me $8.61. So I've gone the Cowboys plus 6.5. So a close loss coming for the Cowboys, perhaps. I like the Rabbitohs with the 24.5 start in that game against the Dragons.
24.5 start. Ooh.
24.5
I suppose,
start.
they've been putting some big points on.
Yeah. I like the Raiders with the 3.5 start. So just be a try better than Newcastle have been terrible the last few weeks. And I like the Sea Eagles with the 11.5 start over the Sharks.
Righto. So what are you getting there? That's not a bad bet, actually.
So
I like that
Ladbrokes are giving me $8.61 on that.
$8. That's a good bet. Well done.
We might be on. We might be up this week. I've got a feeling.
I've got a good feeling. I've got a good feeling about everyone.
If you had some balls to go, like
I need something
better. You got to have it. You got to get them back.
Yeah.
Don't you know any horses?
Yeah, I do. I've actually got a share in 2 horses that have won in the last 3 weeks.
Oh.
So, and haven't tipped one of them. It's good. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you once again, Harold. We fully expect to all 4 of us in the winner's circle next week. Thanks to bettingsite.com.
That can happen.
That can happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I can honestly see this week is going to be the week where all of the things come together, like Ariane Titmus and her swimming and her coach. It's all coming together in one beautiful
segment. Pick the right time. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll catch you next week.
Mate, thanks again. Thanks to bettingsite.com, and we will see you soon.
See you guys later.
All right. And make sure you gamble responsibly, people. Gamble responsibly.
Gamble.
We do gamble responsibly.
Responsibly.
Maybe too responsibly. Or maybe really badly.
Just badly, I think.
Yeah.
Mate, let's just quickly go into a quick review of this week's games. Do you know what? I'm going to pick out, because there's some actually pretty good games here. Let's have a quick chat about the Roosters Eels. I think the Roosters win.
Well, take your Roosters hat off for a minute. Yeah, I know they're winning. I know they're winning games, but like they haven't come up against any real quality like oppositions. Don't you reckon?
Yeah, they haven't. Well, look,
they haven't.
Know. Newcastle, they pumped Newcastle.
Yeah, but Newcastle's pretty bad. I didn't say not winning, but just like they haven't really like nailed nailed any team. Anyone they've sort of come up with that's half decent, they've sort of gotten beaten, quite well. So I don't know. I don't like Parramatta, but yeah, I'm not gonna.
Who did you tip?
I don't know.
Because
I
don't have your
tip Para.
You tip
I
Para.
tip Para. Yeah, I just think they got to. Yeah, Junior Paulo is going to be back. Reed Marnie makes a massive difference. Massive
Yeah, he
difference.
does.
So with him back,
Yeah.
I think they've just got the Roosters measure. Honestly, do.
Yeah.
Tigers and
All right,
Warriors. Tigers and Warriors. I just don't care. I'm sick of watching those two.
The Cowboys and the Broncos. I don't know. That's one of those games that used to be a game that you would just really tune into, but not anymore.
But it's still going to be a lot of hatred towards those clubs. It's the local derby, and they'll both be up for it. So it's going to be quite an intense game. I think the Broncos will be too good. The Cowboys, they're showing up. They're showing up. Most of these clubs, the lower clubs, are sort of finding their groove a little bit now. They're starting to play some half decent football. There's 7 games to go. It is a little bit too late, but they're starting to find a little bit of groove. Even the Broncos are doing that. But I think the Broncos will get that one.
Mate, the other game that I think is probably the game that could go either way, the Knights against the Panthers. I know the Knights against the Raiders, sorry. I know Canberra are actually...
Did we just skip the Dragons and Rabbits? We did.
Yeah, the Rabbits just win that game, But in terms of the Raiders and the Knights, I look at the Knights side and I think if they can't win this week, their season's gone.
And they don't look like winning, do they?
No.
Okay, I don't think you can win a game with Jake Clifford and Phoenix Crossland as your halves.
Yeah.
Simple. Because all you're going to do is just man up on Kalen Ponga, wherever he is. If you're in the middle of the park and you've got a 5-5 split, you see Kalen Ponga on that side, you put some person over. And you go, you know what? Phoenix, try me. You know what I mean? You're not going to do it. You're not going to beat us down that other side. Jake Clifford, try me down this other side. Because you're just going to put an extra number on the long side where Kalen Ponga is, and you solve it. That's what happens. But when you have Piercy there, and you got some other players that can actually play a bit and make it a bit of a threat, then you don't do that. You sit there 5-5, and then you let Kalen Ponga, and then you got to decide defensively. But wherever Kalen Ponga is, you just put an extra number there, and that's why. And he's been playing outstanding, Kalen. But what can he do? You can't do everything. But that's the difference. You can't. You're gonna try and make Phoenix Crossland and Jake Clifford try and beat you. Can't do it. Even though their forward pack is still outstanding, but they can't do. I played in teams before where you have a gun forward pack and you got 2 halves that ain't that sharp. Cost you games. They're not that. The kicking game is off. They don't go to the line. They don't put their back rows through holes. It'd be frustrating. If they had Piercy there, I'll be saying they'd get that game. But
did you tip the Raiders?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me just quickly, why can't the Titans put more than 12.5 on the Bulldogs?
They can. It just depends what Bulldogs shows. Bulldogs team shows up.
No Luke Thompson.
That's a massive loss. He was outstanding
massive
for last week. I'm just checking their team now, team list. They've named Tomo, but is he injured or?
I think he got suspended.
Suspended, yeah. So you're probably going to start, probably Dylan Napper. Yeah, they're all right defensively, but they can let it slip. They can slip it, but I look at that Titan side, and they've just got points all through, and they could easily put 40 on them. But the Bulldogs are hard to judge because they might come out and just defend really good. I don't know.
Why would Justin Holbrook bench for Feeder last week? Was that a kick in the arse saying you're not doing enough?
Maybe it was a bit of an impact. Maybe it was a bit of a tactic. He's I don't know. They probably just wanted him to come off the bench and make that impact. They probably weren't getting it from some of their other players. Him off the bench or starting is a freak. He can do whatever he wants. I'm just having a look at his stats, what he did off the bench. He still played 57 minutes, 14 hit ups, 160 meters. You know what I mean? Not a bad tactic, and you won the game. So you put that Bo Fermor, he's just a worker. You know what I mean? 80 minutes, like 47 tackles, like 100 meters gain. I'm just looking at his stats now. Like, that's your typical back row sort of, work rate, where Fafita just comes on. They're a little bit, because a lot of teams try and game plan for him straight away. So when he's fresh, they know how devastating he is. So you'll rush and you'll put 3 at him all the time. Give him 15, 20 minutes, and then you put him on and let him play the rest of the game. Then you're talking different meters, aren't you? You know what I mean? So I think that's what Justin Holbrook's wasn't. It wasn't a you need a kick in the arse. It was just like, no, we need to play off the bench so you don't have to cop those hits at the start, because people are trying to get at him. They're trying to question him. They're trying to test his character. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to get at him really hard. You can take that away from the kid. He's still only 8. He's still only 20 years old. He doesn't have to cop those hits. He doesn't have to do it. I think it's a smart thing from Justin Holbrook. Take him away from all that fire in the first 20 minutes, and then let him destroy teams at the back end of the halves. He's unstoppable. As long as that young kid gets in the back row, does all his tackles, doesn't miss anything, does his hit ups, does his work rate, and then then you switch the team around. They've got a pretty good team. Like, they've got David Peach who can come on, and they pretty much come on at the same time, and they can attack together. So it's all about the dynamic.
You know what I like most about that Titans side? The fact that they've got rid of Tyrone Peachy and they've brought David Peachy out of retirement and they've put him on the wing. That's wonderful. David Peachy, such a good footballer, impact player.
One of the best.
Manly Sharks have got a good side for next year, but let's not worry about next year.
Storm and the Panthers. Miss the Storm and the Panthers.
Do you know what? I don't even want to talk about that game, because the Panthers are so under strength that, honestly, the Storm will put 20 on them. There's my prediction.
Brian Tyro is a massive loss.
Massive loss. He controls the energy. Him and Luai control the energy. Luai hasn't got Cleary. I don't know. That's Melbourne.
So you got Charlie Staines, you got Dylan Edwards, Charlie Staines, Crichton, Naden, and Robert Jennings as your back five.
No thanks.
It's not that intense. Because Toto is responsible for 250 meters plus, something like that average. He gets those sets off to such a great speed. They've still got a good decent side. They'll come out firing.
They won't win.
So no Fisher Harris. God, let's not even talk about it.
All right, William. I won't bring up where we are with the tips because it's kind of getting embarrassing. Oh, am I winning? Please. Of course,
Sharks and Eagles. So the Eagles are all back.
Eagles win.
Yeah, they're all back. Jake Trbojevic is back.
Manly will go deep, but they won't win the comp.
Yeah, I just don't see anyone beating Melbourne ever.
Manly won't beat Manly. All right, William. Well, that concludes the take with Willie and Iain for another week. Twitter game this week. What are we going to do? We're going to go on all of them.
Same as what we're always doing.
We're just going to go all of them.
Yeah, we tweet about anything. Games, Olympics, whatever.
Hit us up, actually, on Twitter. I like talking to you on Twitter. Everyone who's listening to the show, who has tweeted, I always respond. Will responds. Just get into it. Involve. Rate, review, subscribe. That's the other thing that you need to do. And thank you once again to bettingsite.com.au. They are a wonderful, wonderful organisation, and they are very busy at the moment because there's nothing to do but punt. Thank you to Bondi Tony's.
Young Henry's
is fantastic, and I have really enjoyed I've had a shit house day, and I have enjoyed my Rolling Stone.
I finished mine, Oscar. I finished my case, Oscar, so I'm expecting some more.
Oscar, same. All right, people. Have a good week. Guys. Stay safe. We'll see you next week.
Are we out, Zig?
Oh, I got to piss.
Zig, are we out?
Hasn't said stop record.
Zig?
Thank you. I was about to die in the midst of it.